All right, ladies and gentlemen, if we can have everyone's attention at this time, ladies and gentlemen, if I can kindly have everyone's attention. We're about ready to get started tonight with an evening of tribute to a very, very special person. And actually, this wouldn't be a celebration, this wouldn't be a mitzvah for a very special person if we didn't start this very special evening out in the traditional Jewish way with the Hora. So I'm going to ask for Karen Goldenberg, our special guest of honor here this evening, to please come to the dance floor. I'm going to ask for all of Karen's friends and colleagues to please join her on the dance floor because it's Hora time, ladies and gentlemen. Grab Karen's hand, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Hora time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Karen and your family. Thank you so very much for coming out tonight in celebration of the one and only Karen Goldenberg. My name is Diane Wilson, and it is an absolute honor to serve as the co-chair of this evening's celebration along with my good friend Elliot Eisen. I have had the distinct privilege of serving on the board of directors of JVS Toronto for the past 8 years, which means I got to work very closely with Karen, which means I got to really know her. How many times were there when I wondered, how did Karen do that? Or only Karen would do that? Karen, you have truly been the wind beneath our wings. One thing that's very clear to all of us tonight, celebrating Karen is easy to do. From the start, Elliot and I have been thrilled to work with a dedicated committee, and especially our wonderful event committee. Tonight's festivities are a reflection of their superb commitment. But I want to go beyond all of our committees, which could bore you, and thank all of you out there, each and every one of you, who sought to celebrate Karen and to launch the Karen Gold Legacy Fund. Karen Gold Legacy Fund. It's a mouthful, isn't it? I would like to give special thanks indeed to the Eunice and David Mockley Fund, Alan Malcolm Green, David Green and Daphne Wagner, Mikey Green and Lita Green, and the Herzig Eye Institute, represented by Sherry Tabb and Sheldon Herzig. The Legacy Fund, okay, we can clap. That was a good idea. The Legacy Fund will provide important funding for JVS programs, which include financial literacy, accessibility, Emmett employment, and the Al Green Resource Center. The Karen Goldenberg Legacy Fund, which is launched tonight, it's a new fund that, with your help, will only continue to grow. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, Diane. Let me add that it has also been my great pleasure to co-chair this event with you. I think it's appropriate at this time to acknowledge some special people in the room. The past presidents of JVS who are here tonight, I'll mention their names briefly: Mickey Milner, David Rubin, Michael Steinberg, Maury Solway, Mark Zaretsky, Leon Kadish, Helen Goldlist, and Peter Shenfield, all in attendance tonight. As well, two former executive directors of JVS, Ed Segalowitz and Bernie Berger. I would be remiss if I didn't make mention of the crew of people who worked most of the day today and prior to that, who made this room look as beautiful as it does. Susan Smith, Joanne Cutler, Gay Locash, Maxine Winter, Gloria Lipovsky, Myra Levy, Sharon Cohn, Carrie Lehman, Sylvana Ceballos, Lisa Ray, Melanie Braga, and Patricia Flynn. I think this room looks fantastic. I want to put everyone at ease right now and tell you that Diane and I are definitely not the entertainment tonight, but I promise you there is plenty of that to come. There are a few additional thank yous in order at this time. First, we want to thank the Tribute Committee for lending their names and supporting such a great cause. As well, there are 3 JVS staff people without whose hard work, expertise, and dedication this evening's celebration would not have been possible. I'm going to invite them to stand and be recognized and remain standing so that we can all give them a hearty round of applause. And folks, kindly hold your applause until all 3 women are standing. Melanie Braga, Silvana Ceballos, up you get, and Lisa Ray. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As a longtime friend of both JVS and Karen, it really has been my pleasure, and perhaps more so, my privilege, to co-chair this event. We are all here tonight to celebrate a truly remarkable woman. In 12 years at the helm of this organization, Karen has greatly increased funding and programs that have provided much-needed services to people throughout the Jewish and Greater Toronto communities. In fact, during Karen's stewardship, the annual budget of JVS has grown from $6 million to more than $20 million today. She has done so much for so many, and her accomplishments have been transformational. When I think about her in this regard, among many other exceptional attributes, Karen is a unique combination of vision, intelligence, skills, energy, inclusiveness, and compassion. So, dear, dear Karen, enjoy every minute of this evening. For all that you have accomplished and for who you are, we thank you, we salute you, and mostly we love you. It is now my pleasure to introduce our MC for this evening, Barbara Kay. We've imported her from Montreal for tonight's event. She is, of course, a noted journalist with the National Post and a very close, longtime friend of Sydney and Karen's. In fact, Barbie is one of the key people who was instrumental in bringing Karen and Sydney together. Take it away, Barbie.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Elliot, for that nice introduction. I noticed that when I entered the building tonight, just down the hall, there is another event going on. The Don Mills Borough Association is having an open forum on the pros and cons of alternate side of the street parking days. So I just want to say that I know you had a choice tonight. Thank you for choosing Karen. It was a very busy day in Toronto. I can see from what some of the folks at my table are wearing that they didn't have time to change from their day demonstrating with Occupy Bay Street. But the main thing is that you made it. We appreciate that. Oh, and thank you for leaving the placards outside. Yeah. It is a great honor to have been asked to be the MC for this event. I have known Karen for 43 years, which is not as long as some other people in this room, and Although we have lived in different cities for many years, the first few years in which our friendship developed were so rich in time and quality that we formed a bond that the miles between us cannot weaken. Our paths may have crossed in Toronto before I left at the age of 21 when I married my husband Ronnie, but it was as young mothers living within a few blocks of each other in Montreal that we became close and in many ways quite dependent on each other. We babysat for each other, we shared recipes and child-rearing tips, we hung out together just for fun, and we were there for each other through good times and not so good times. My son suffered from asthma and sometimes had to be hospitalized with asthmatic bronchitis or pneumonia. He was going through one of these crises when I gave birth to my daughter, and while I was in the hospital, and in those days you stayed a week, Karen would come over to my house every day to turn Johnny upside down and pound his back to make it easier for him to breathe. Karen did not think that was a big day to every day upset her schedule to come over, but for us it was a very stressful time and it was a very big deal for us, and that is so Karen. So I think that this is the first actual favor Karen has ever asked me to do for her. She's done me many. So that gives new depth to the old cliche, I thought you'd never ask. So I'm extremely happy to be able in some way to repay Karen for all the very wonderful things she's done for me and my family. Now we're going to start things off, our program, and on behalf of JVS, I would now like to introduce Helen Goldlist, past chairman of the board of directors, Ruth Abramson, current chair, and Paul Habert, chair-elect. Great.
Thank you so much. I'm Helen Goldlist. I'm the immediate past chair of the board. I've known Karen for over 35 years as my employer, a co-volunteer, and a very good friend. And it is a rare privilege to be personally and professionally associated with such an extraordinary human being, one who has accomplished so much and touched so many. Karen Goldenberg has devoted her life to promoting and restoring human dignity, which is reflective of her passion and belief in the human spirit, social justice, and building bridges. 12 years ago, Karen came to a very different and smaller JVS, as Elliot was saying. We were then approaching 50 years old and very much a well-respected core presence in the city, providing invaluable services in a somewhat self-effacing and quiet way. Karen saw what we could be and what she thought we should be. In her words, she took the agency to the people by creating offices throughout the GTA. She drew on the special talents and abilities of those around her, many of whom are current members of the leadership team, on the board, and on various committees. In fact, so many of you are here tonight. Among Karen's accomplishments, she's revised our governance methods and instilled a committed board of directors within a best practices model. She's grown our volunteer base by encouraging and mentoring everyone who crosses her path. She's also worked so hard to emphasize the J in JVS by envisioning and creating our Jewish community initiatives and Emmett employment, and works tirelessly to build bridges between the Jewish community and the diverse communities that we serve. Karen has always said that JVS must be strong so that it is available to the Jewish community when it's needed.
Karen's contribution to our community is beyond measure. Her insatiable energy, determination, and moral integrity have driven her life and work to bring about greater justice, compassion, equity, and opportunity. She's the driver of our agency's diversity and belief that work is the precursor for individuals to live their lives with dignity and respect. She's made her mark on the greater community by mobilizing partners from all sectors. We have partnerships, to name a few, and many of you are here tonight, with UJA Federation, the Aboriginal community, other Jewish vocational services, the United Way, Toronto Police Services, the Iranian community, and all levels of government. In 2011 alone, JVS served 20,000 clients. In fact, It is all the more amazing when we realize that this was done by a staff of just over 200 talented and dedicated professionals. We're very proud to play this role in ensuring the well-being of Torontonians and the working community from all walks of life, to know that we're contributing to a stronger economy, to partner with businesses in a meaningful way, and to do this as an agency rooted in the Jewish community. As Karen has often said, she fell in love with JVS and the work we do. And I know that I can say unequivocally that we fell in love with Karen too. This talented and dynamic woman leads by example. She has infectious enthusiasm, is hugely creative, intuitive, generous, charismatic, a true leader, and most of all, she's an inspiration to those around her.
Where is she? There she is. Karen, we will miss you hugely. As you have noted, you started working on your legacy the day you arrived at JPS, and your imprimatur is everywhere we look and in all that we do today. In order to help ensure the continuation of your remarkable work at JVS, you and Sydney have generously decided to set up the Karen and Sydney Goldenberg Legacy Foundation at UJA Federation. The funds that go there will be directed towards 4 specific programs that you have designated, namely, financial literacy. This program provides people access to current and relevant information that leads to better understanding of money management skills in their daily lives. These individuals and household decisions and behaviors have profound impacts on the financial security, well-being, and inclusion in Canadian society of individuals and families. 2, the Al Green Resource Centre. This center specializes in creating employment, training, and volunteer opportunities for persons with developmental disabilities to assist them to develop work, life, and social skills. 3, accessibility. This fund allows staff to access financial resources for their clients who may not be in a position to afford our fee-for-service programs, who may be in need of things like special equipment so that they can start an apprenticeship, TTC tokens to attend an employment workshop, and more. And lastly, Emmett Employment. This program connects Jewish job seekers and employers through a web interface at www.emmettemployment.ca. A team of employment professionals provide employment counseling guidance and reach out to employers to help the unemployed and underemployed attain their career goals. The fund has gotten off to a spectacular start, largely in part to so many of you here with us this evening. If you haven't yet supported this most deserving fund, I implore you to complete one of the cards on your table and hand it to our JVS staff at the end of the evening when you leave at the front table. Before I introduce Frank Markle, the new president and CEO of JVS Toronto, I just wanted to say to Karen, from all of us on the JVS board, past and present, and from all your JVS friends, our sincere good wishes for the very best in all that you do. And being Karen, we all know that you will do wonders. But most important, we know that we have a friend for life, which is the best thing of all. I'd now like to introduce Frank Markle, the new CEO and president of JVS Toronto. Frank joined JVS about 3 months ago from Trillium Foundation, and I'm very excited to be working with him and look forward to future collaborations. Please give a warm welcome to Frank.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to join in expressing my appreciation to Karen for everything she has done for JVS. Karen and I were speaking just the other day, and I was asking her how she was spending her time.